to me as well, actually.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Anybody else? Are we all in at once approving those minutes? There's only one page. We try to keep things simple.
Yeah, they're fine.
Right, okay, we're going to stop the share on that one. And we're doing well here. And then we're going to go to the, I think it's the report now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and I've got to make that bigger because otherwise it's going to be minute for everybody. Right, now, do people want a summary, or are you okay to have received these, the text of the report before Ellie goes into discussing the accounts, which is the very vital part, because
I want a summary.
You want a summary, Robert? Okay. Oh, right then.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's all right. I should try to be very, very quick, but I will actually turn to Carol and Ellie for the summary for the children. I'm not going to go through the names, but these are the people who are involved in WFDA. So there's quite a few. And for a small charity, we do punch above our weight. And I think we can say that with a lot of pride. Also, I think we should say that this year we have been chosen as the Waltham Forest Mayor's, one of her charities. So for the adult work, as I've just said, the Mayor has chosen WFDA as her charity. Last financial year, the 29 full screenings and 79 checklist screenings. I'm just doing the highlights, okay? That was a substantial piece of work by Lois Hood. And I just remind everybody, these are free screenings. It is a unique service that is offered. It's very rare to get free screenings like this. We also, for adults, have adult meetups every month by Zoom. These last an hour and a half to 2 hours. And we have about 20 to 30 people who attend. It's posted on the website, and we send a flyer out to our circulation of 170 people. What you have in front of you is all the meetup sessions. You can see there's a big range of meetup sessions that happen. All people who have lived experience of being neurodivergent. Okay, our advocacy project work is our flagship work for adults. And we regularly get money in from the National Lottery, not the National Trust, the National Lottery, and our advocates did extremely well in this year that we're talking about, developing their skills for communication and giving talks on Zoom to a wide range of people across the country. Because of the success of that advocate programme, we got some more money in from the National Lottery for a leadership programme, and that started in May 2024. So it's part of the financial year that we're talking about at the moment. And we are now 3/4 of the way through that leadership programme. We've got 6 training sessions with our advocates, our 9 advocates, and we're going to be having a dissemination event at Waltham Forest Town Hall, hosted by the Mayor, which will be wonderful. We've also got a WhatsApp group and Facebook. Sadia does fantastic work with Facebook. Now I'm going to turn to Ellie and Carol.
Yep. Do you want to say anything, Carol?
For the report on safeguarding and children's protection, or just
shall I start on the children's work then?
Yep, go on then.
Yeah, well, we've continued our online literacy support lessons this year, and there have been 58 students attending altogether. We also have some in-person touch typing, and that's really taken off this last year. That happens twice a week at 2 schools, and we have a lady who does numeracy teaching at her house, and she's recently upped the number of lessons she's doing. Last year she was seeing 4 students during the year, but she's upped that recently. Yeah, so that's about touch typing as well as literacy support. Our class tutors, we've got fewer now. 1 or 2 left, and so we've got fewer tutors than we had last year, or in the year just finished. We had fewer tutors than we had in the year before.
You mean the previous year?
That's it. In the previous year. Yeah, it's always hard to know which year you're talking about sometimes. So there's bits about, you know, comments from the tutors in the report, and Karen, who's just resigned actually as our children's program manager, but she compiled all this stuff to put in the report, which was very useful. And, you know, got feedback from the parents and the students. And it gives you the numbers there of how many online classes, 445 and 166 face-to-face sessions. So that's not bad, is it, over a year? One bit of good news, Karen applied for us to Tesco. It was one of they call it Stronger Starts, and I don't know if you're used to Tesco's. They have these little blue tokens that you put in to choose the charity of your choice. Well, in the end, we got their gold award, and they gave us £5,000, which is brilliant, which was more than we'd have got. It was more than we were expecting. As part of the scheme, we thought we might get up to 2,000 if we'd been the winner, but in fact they gave us a gold award and we got 5,000, so that was good. It has been a financially challenging year because we spent a lot of time, Karen particularly spent a lot of time applying to children in need. And in the end, although they said it was a good application, they just decided that they were going to support other people this year. So that was disappointing, but at least there was nothing wrong with our application. So that was.
Can I ask you quickly, Ellie?
Yeah.
Tesco contacted Lois about 2 weeks ago.
And they haven't been to you?
So she gave them my details, and she gave me their details, and I've emailed them a couple of times, but I've heard nothing. So
who knows? I mean,
yeah.
we got the money, but I think they wanted to do a sort of, you know, an official handover of a big check or something.
They wanted to know how we were going to use the money, but so I've emailed them to say contact me, and I can. Yeah.
Well, children's classes is how we're using them for. Yeah.
Well, if they contact me, that's what I'll say then. But yeah,
okay. All right.
Okay.
Screening. We've continued to do screening. I think it's slowed down a bit lately because we caught up with our backlog that we had due to COVID. But Kathy, who was screening, has retired, but Deborah Lewis has joined the team. She does some primary screenings. Catherine Marshall does secondary, and of course Lois does the adults. We do charge for the children to be screened. We charge £50, but with the proviso that if they can't afford it, they can pay what they can afford, because we don't want to sort of, you know, rule anybody out. And that, I think that works very well, actually. It's got the numbers in. We did our summer transition club again at Forest School. I think this may have been the last one. I don't know. Forest School don't think they can accommodate us next year, and our team, which was Maxine and Kathy, have now both sort of retired. So I think it's quite likely that that might have been our last summer transition club. It was getting more difficult to get numbers up. We had 7 children this year. Well, we could in theory have up to 25. So I think it's true that more secondary schools are doing their own transition activities. And of course, I mean, the good thing about ours is that it's, you know, it's specifically based for dyslexia, but with other things. But yeah, it's likely to have been our last, I think. But they did lots of fun things, dance, swimming, sports groups, as well as drama, I think. So they did a lot of things. Yeah, and there's some feedback from parents, which was generally pretty positive, so that's good.
Thank you, Ellie. And so we've got a lot of thanks to everybody. We've got Carol now with safeguarding, if you want to say something.
Yes, I'm just getting my stuff up. I am. WFDA have always taken safeguarding very seriously, and we have a very comprehensive policy and procedures document. Our procedures document covers all types of abuse that children are open to from perpetrators. And it also includes online abuse, because obviously we do a lot of work online, and all our tutors have training for online safeguarding, as that's their main method of teaching now. Our safeguarding policy and procedures are on the website for anyone who wants to have a look at them. And just to say, the last update was in May 23, 23, which is still current. And we had a new, recently approved new safeguarding policy for adults from September 23, which again is still current. We will be looking at the safeguarding policy next year. It only has to really be updated each year if there is any new legislation or anything new to come out. So it's good for 2 years. It's a set item every trustee meeting. Safeguarding, I give a report every meeting about any new developments from the government about safeguarding, and if there have been any concerns raised by screeners or tutors. In the past, we have had to escalate a safeguarding concern to social services, but this year, in this past year, there haven't been any concerns raised by tutors or screeners about any aspect of safeguarding with their students. All our tutors and screeners are DBS checked on a 3-year basis. So every 3 years that's renewed. And our DBS checking umbrella company remains as Atlantic Data, and we've had that for several years now. DBSs are valid for 3 years, and all tutors and screeners have an enhanced DBS, as do all our volunteers. And I'm just going to look that. Yes, and although we didn't have any children for our young students, myself and the adult safeguarding lead, who is Katherine Hewlett, work closely together and monitor safeguarding across children, young people and adults. And this year, one concern was raised for an adult at risk, which myself and Katherine discussed, and which Katherine then took that up with an external agency just for clarification purposes, and we continue to monitor that individual and support them within our adult services. So it was always one of our strengths with our children in need application that our safeguarding was so tight and very sound. And it was just a shame this year that due to the demands that they have and them supporting us for a long time, that we didn't get their funding this time. But safeguarding has always been very robust in that application and always been signposted as very good. Yeah, so we continue to monitor it, and I continue to be the safeguarding lead and will continue in that role.
And thank you very much, Carol, and thank you for all the hard work and your expertise over the years. And it's absolutely true. Carol is very robust in her knowledge, and I know that, and it really did support me in the work I was doing. So that's in general our report for this year ending August. And we would like to thank everybody involved with the WFDA for their hard work in the children's services, safeguarding, and in adults. We're going to hand over to Ellie for the accounts.
Sorry, just had to unmute. I will try not to cough too much.
Are you okay on this page? Do you want me to go to a particular page, Ellie?
No, I think leave that page actually. Can you leave that page?
Yeah.
That gives an overview of they call it receipts and payments. We're a receipts and payments account, not it means that we just deal with what happened in the year. We don't look forwards and backwards. It's an accepted way of doing accounts for us. A charity of our size, but the figures on the right refer to this year. The figures on the left refer to the previous year, in case you want to compare. The payments this year, they're the best way of seeing what our activity has been in some ways. They're in the bottom half. They're slightly lower because they reflect slightly lower activity. We've got fewer class tutors, therefore fewer classes. And there's been slightly less number of screenings because, as I say, we caught up with the COVID backlog, and so they sort of settled down, but they're still pretty steady. Yeah, the adult work continued. Catherine's already mentioned that, but we've continued to have funding from the National Lottery and various things, the latest being from Awards for All, and that work at the moment carries through till May. It started in May 2024, so it's part of this financial year, but it goes forward to May 2025.
Yeah, they're very easy to go.
So there are Carol, could you, if you've got people talking, can you mute yourself, because it's a bit distracting. The figures, they have a restricted column and an unrestricted column, and then a total. Restricted means funds that are given for a particular purpose have to be used for a particular purpose. That's all that means. Right, the Three Oaks Foundation have continued to support us into 2025. We've just had our last payment from them. Families contribute to the classes. We aim to have a low price, but the fact that people do contribute, it shows, I think, that they value the classes. There are some who I think pay nothing or pay a lower price because of income, but generally we feel that the parents value the classes. We did spend a lot of time putting together a proposal to BBC Children in Need, which was unsuccessful in the end. So we are looking for more fundraising. ideas. In the last year, we had some sponsored fundraising. Somebody did a triathlon and somebody else did a swim, and that was very encouraging. So if anybody has ideas of things they'd like to do to support us, we'd be very open to that.
The charity what I belong to, we did the sponsors walking that went down really well, actually.
Yeah,
Okay, we can do that again, Robert.
maybe we should think of doing that again. Yeah. Recent encouragement, which is not in this accounts, but it was the 5,000 from the Tesco Golden Grant, which is very nice. And then we've also recently had a 4,000 donation from the West Essex Football Club, which is brilliant. And also we are going to get, we have no idea what we will get, but we are one of the charities that the Mayor is supporting during this year of her work. I think it's about May, June, she steps down. That's how her year runs. So presumably then we will know how much she's raised for us. So we do need suggestions of where our funding is going to come from. We can only operate our classes with funding, but at the moment we keep sufficient reserves that we're in, you know, we've got enough to keep going, certainly for this academic year, and you know, well on really.
Just flicking through, Ellie,
Yeah.
just for the purposes of transparency.
If you go down a little bit further, it says about the reserves.
Okay.
That's, oh no, I thought it was going to say how much we've got. That must have been in the report earlier, that we
Yes,
have put aside, you know, an amount.
there it is. That's reserves.
That's right, yeah. That we've at the end of the financial year, we've decided that we should put aside 12,500 or almost to cover the funding for the classes, in case we didn't get anything else in. And our general fund is sufficient to provide day-to-day working capital and allow us to fund new developments. So, you know, financially, yes, we made a loss in this last year, but we are, you know, well, we've got plenty of money at the moment. You know, we've got enough to fund what we want to do. So any ideas of places we can apply for grants, will be welcome received. And I think that's
Charity,
about,
the one I'm belong to, Lucian's picking up. We applied to Co-op and we become they let us be one of their charities that they sponsored for the
Yeah.
we got money from Co-op. Yeah, really.
yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually. Thank you for that, Robert. Any questions? Anybody want to ask anything about the finance? Okay.
Okay, so we've received the report. Do we need to approve the report, Ellie, or is it just
I
okay?
think we need to approve the report, but we're not quorate, so, but yeah.
So what's the situation? Do we?
Well, we approve the report. That's fine if you'd like
You have to
to.
approve it, you know.
Well, okay, we've approved the report. Can we get on to the next item, because we've got Donald Ewing turning up quite soon. Independent examiner.
Yeah, I mean, they have done a very good job this year. She was lovely, the lady. I mean, David's found dealing with her very nice. And I'd like to propose that we appoint them as our examiners for the next year.
Yes, I agree. I second that.
Good.
Right.
Anybody against? No. Right.
Okay, so members propose resolutions.
We haven't got any, have we?
I can't think of any.
No.
Have you got
Okay.
appointment of charity trustees?
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we've got to do that.
Rushing on.
Just formally.
So what do we do about chair?
I think we have to say it's vacant at the moment unless we've got.
Well, none of the current trustees are rushing to be chair, so I think we are still, we're still looking for a chair. I gather that everybody, or most people, are willing to stand again. Katherine Hewlett as vice chair, John McMenemy as secretary, me as treasurer. And then we have Catherine Marshall and Sadia and Carol, who's going to continue to be safeguarding officer. The one person who isn't standing again is Marcia, can't think of what her other name is, sorry, Marcia Brissett Bailey. She's standing down because she's got too much else on. But other than that, we are continuing as everybody is continuing. People are welcome to join us. What we normally do, I mean, we don't normally appoint at the AGM, but if somebody's interested, please say so, and we'll invite you to our next trustee meeting and you can see how we work. Okay.
Do we need to do a formal?
You do need to be voted on as a trustee though, because that's what we did.
Sorry, Robert. Did you want to be a trustee?
If you want to be a trustee, you do have to, what's it called? You do have to
Be voted.
Sorry?
Be voted, but does that count because we're just continuing to stand?
No, even if you're continuing, you still have to be like someone has to first and second, and if anyone new comes, you have to like first and second them as well.
Okay, well,
the problem being that we aren't quorate, so in a sense, I mean, although this is the best we can do, this is our AGM and what we agree will stand, it seems a little bit funny to bother with the proposing and seconding when we haven't got enough members in the meeting to do that. So,
well, let's just do it. Let's just get on with it if people want us to do this. So, vice chair, who proposes vice chair and who seconds vice chair?
Well, I propose you, Catherine.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Who proposes treasurer?
I propose.
You propose Ellie, do you? Pearson, who seconds? I second Ellie. Who proposes secretary, which is John?
I can propose John.
Who's seconded John?
I'll do that.
Is that all our roles? What about safeguarding officer? Do we need to propose safeguarding officer, Carol? If so, I propose Carol. Jolly good person.
I second that. And can we do as one, Catherine Marshall and Sadia to continue as trustees?
Yes.
Yeah, we all agree that.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, so we've done it properly.
I'm just telling you how it should be done. That's all, because I'm a trustee, and I know the ins and outs of being a trustee. That's all.
Yes, thank you, Robert. I think some of us do know that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the formal part of the business, and Donald hasn't arrived yet, which is okay. Has anybody got any questions for WFDA?
I'd like to know who you actually approached for funding. Who did you approach this? Who did you approach this year for funding? Actually,
well, Tesco's. There was Tesco's, and then there was the football club in Essex.
West Essex Football Club.
We didn't actually.
Children in Need have always been our biggest funder. Free Oaks.
have you ever thought about the National Lottery as well?
We have thought about the National Lottery, but we've decided not to go down that route at the moment.
Oh, okay. Why is that then?
Simply because they often have there are specific things you have that they will support. There are, And at the moment, it doesn't seem like dyslexia is something they support. So that is something we will come back to in the coming year to look at where we can apply for funding. But as with any funders, you have to meet their criteria.
You can find that that funders that there is a what's it called, I think it's online, there's a funders dictionary, what has funders in it, and it tells you,
Directory.
it tells you exactly who the funders is and what I think what they fund for as well. There's I think
Yeah,
all
what we-
fun.
Yeah, Robert, what we find is that a lot of our funders won't fund something that is specifically dyslexia. So we have to look at other avenues about what they want. You know, and at the moment, mental health is a big thing with young people that a lot of funders are looking to fund. But along with that, you've got to have all the evidence that the people that you are supporting in your charity do have mental health issues. So it's not just someone who will fund dyslexia. Even with Children in Need this year, it wasn't just about funding through the education route, dyslexia. It had to be with something else. So there is something that we need to look at very carefully and see what we actually can apply for. Otherwise, it's a lot of work to apply to funders than just to be told, no, actually, you don't meet our criteria.
Have you ever thought of maybe combining dyslexia with something else, like so you can apply for more funders, because you are providing that advocate service, and you could apply in that way as well. If WFDs can providing the advocate service as well.
Yes. Katherine does that with the adults. But when you're looking at funding for children's classes, which is what we run, it's a whole different ball game.
I know that. I'm just trying to throw in some ideas. That's all.
That's why. Yeah, and that's great. It's not something that we haven't looked at, but it's something that we have to relook at every year to see whether their criteria has changed and whether we then can say we meet that criteria. So it's very valuable what you've said, and thank you for that. And it is something that we are continually looking at.
Yeah, it's never straightforward. Looking for funding. It's never black and white. It's more. It's like a more complex than that,
Yes.
isn't it? Really.
Yes, definitely.
But more and more difficult, Robert. Because many charities are having a very, very difficult time, and so what charities need to do is spread the net wide. So we are looking for members to help with this, and looking at donations and doing sponsored events, anything that will bring money in, because it helps. It's not just doing the big bids to organize,
I know it's not just about doing the big bigs, but it's all everything, all money raised counts as a whole, though, isn't it? Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think the WFDA do remarkably well for a small charity in East London, and since COVID, that they've really increased their spread across the UK due to the ability to go on Zoom. So the WFDA is actually quite well known now for their work. By a lot of other organisations, hugely knowledgeable.